And what's going down? Hey, happy Sunday to my folks.
What it do?
This is episode maybe 3 or 4. I can't remember. I stopped counting. I usually stop counting when I'm doing these. But the audio recordings of the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. Thank you guys for joining this week. We're a little short. We have Kev the Great and we have Dwayne Goodman in the house today. We got a pretty good topic, so you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we's back on this wonderful Sunday. We got, like I said, I have Kevin and I have Dwayne in the building today. Listen, I'm going to start this like we do every episode every week. Man, how has you guys this week been? Look at them babies in the background. Can't you just love them like all day?
Right? There's some gorgeous faces back there, man.
I know. Right?
It's hard for something to be so cute and look like me at the same time.
Hey, it worked though.
It's almost tragic, man. It's almost tragic. All right. So, how was your week, Kev?
My week was actually it's so repetitive because all I do is I work.
That's how.
And I work from home, but I work and I get off. And I try to find something to do other than but it's relaxing in a way. I get to relax and be around my family, and it's times like this that I actually need to sit back and reflect and enjoy the moment. A lot of the times, we all tend to take that for granted, and I'm trying to bring it back home, and make sure I'm enjoying that. But nonetheless, I give it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Dwayne, how was your week, bro?
Hey, I'm like
put that mic up
like, hey, look, I'm like Sealy. I'm like Miss Sealy.
What? Don't do it, Miss Sealy. Oh,
no. I'm poor. I'm black. I may be ugly, but I'm here. You hear me? I'm here.
No, you did not. He said, I'm poor. I'm like, you know what? I can't. Let me move on. All right, so my week has been, I'm like Kevin. My week is kind of repetitive. It's always, I'm working, and selling cars, and it's amazing sometimes when there are days where I get up and I say I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do this whole car selling thing today. And those are the days that I have my big days. I sold 2 cars in one day the other day. But that morning, I was content. I was going to stay home that day. I was like, I'm not going to work. I don't feel like I had my text on speed. I had my boss on speed dial. Like, I'm not coming. But,
you can feel that. You can feel that toothache coming on.
Yeah, I feel like that scratch in the back of my throat was been lingering for many days. But so no, and I went ahead and went and sold 2 cars in one day. So it's amazing how that works out.
Can I ask you a crazy question? How many? What's the population of where you live, Terry?
The population?
Yeah, the population.
Oh crap! In the city that I live in, it's about 14,000.
So you sold 2 cars in a day in a town the size of 14,000.
Yeah,
hats off to you. That's work.
Yeah, that is.
I see what I see what Dwayne doing. It's that ratio he's trying to. Yeah, it's gonna put some respect on your name.
Well, it was a blessing because I sold. It was a mother and son. So I sold the son a BMW that morning, and then the mom was so impressed by what I did for the son. She came back and she got a brand new track. So it was shout out to Brendan and his mom Beth, and they were great. All right,
to my mother-in-law, Mama.
Hey, and if you are in the building or in the market for a vehicle, let him. I will ship you a car. Like I've been trying to tell Dwayne and the boys and the brothers from Brothers of Legacy for the last 6 months. I will ship you a car. Please know that. All right, so we're going to shift around to our next section here. Those of you that follow us a little bit, well, we're fairly new, but we have a section called "Take Several Seats." And I'm gonna bring up Denzel because I love Denzel because that face is kind of what we mean when we say take several seats. So this is the portion. This is the portion of the podcast where we say or we talk about who in our life or somebody that you know or in the news that needs to sit down and take several seats. I'm gonna start with Dwayne. Dwayne, is that anybody that can take several seats?
It's that season, bro. I know the last time y'all had me on y'all show, I talked about Georgia politics.
Yeah,
and I'm feeling the same. It's not Georgia this time. I'm gonna make a statement to those people who are. I don't know how to explain it. I just see people who try to equate Republican to saved. And if you're one of those people who equate Republican to saved, you on my list. And the reason why you on my list is because I read something probably about 30 minutes before coming on, right? And when I was reading, this one person said, I'm not going to argue about who's the most deplorable person, Donald Trump or Joe Biden. She said, however, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to vote because one day I'm going to have to stand before God and I'm going to have to justify why I voted for Trump. And she was like, there's no Holy Spirit in me that can justify me voting for him as a Christian. So then the fight started, right?
That's when the fight broke out. Yeah.
That's when the fight broke out. So I read a dude that says, his comment was, how can you say it's spirit led and you're not going to vote? The Holy Spirit won't lead you to not voting.
He'll lead you to the holy water, but not the voting booth.
And I said I responded naturally. He didn't. It was a long, drawn out, eloquent explanation. But I was like, in basic, God has always been sovereign. He's always been God by himself. He ain't never needed no help. And everything the Holy Spirit has led you to do has been the one thing, depend on God. So maybe you need to understand that concept before you try to put a man in God's place. And I left it at that. But for those people who try to equate human experience to a sovereign God, take several pew seats, please.
Yeah, the pew, the middle one, and the choir row too. Take that whole
right. Yeah, they can have that whole back row back there.
Hey Terry, guess what? It's a 22. Pew pew pew.
Yeah, we'll take several seats, bro.
I'm gonna go down the same path as my boy right here. Oh, right there you go, right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go political today, and I'm gonna say Trump. I don't really go political, but I'm gonna go political today and say Trump. You can definitely go ahead and have your admin. There's a ton of y'all that can have several seats. Now, he showed his true colors. Now, Trump is known when everyone knows he cannot debate. This is a God-given fact. He showed his true colors last week. And if he didn't, let me remind you. So this guy gets up on the stage, and Biden knows how to debate. I'm pretty sure he's probably using Obama's debate coach.
Probably.
But Biden is throwing 1-2 combos at him, and Trump eating them. He's eating every punch. Now Trump gets out of pocket, and the only response is he'll go back and say, "Well, you made money off of China."
Yeah, that was his only.
What does that lead to your question of what's going on with your tax evasion?
Yeah.
Why does that lead to? That was his answer for 3 questions in a row. He went back to it, and here's another thing. And people only love him because of the controversy he sells.
Yeah.
People, this is not the leader of the United States. Let me tell you, a leader actually can respond, with conviction and know the right things to say. At least follow your, people that are behind you telling you, hey, this is what you need to say.
Right.
So he just likes to pop off at the mouth. We know that.
Yeah.
And the reason why he outdid Hillary last time was, well, he bullied her.
Yeah.
He bullied her. He's not gonna do that to Biden. Biden's from the he's OG with Obama. He ready to pop.
Yeah.
He's not taking it.
Right.
But you come with some loaded questions. You're gonna get a fully loaded answer.
Yeah.
And Trump he's gotta get very personal with it, your son, and he keeps talking about his son in the military. No, answer the question. You can't answer the question, just say it.
Yeah.
I'd rather you be honest.
Exactly. Yeah. Well. Okay, we're not gonna do it. But
don't do that, Terry.
You're a very good person. Don't take.
You're fired.
We have to be careful because the Brothers of Legacy just got a video removed because we were talking about the debate on YouTube and YouTube. Somebody reported it and then YouTube deleted it. So let's be careful. But I'm not going to say any names, but you know who you are, sir.
God bless your heart.
Oh, let me take names.
So if you're in here, if you're following and watching on YouTube and Periscope and Facebook and on Trump Direct TV, please comment. That way we can see what you're doing. This is
comment. Let's go.
Audio podcast as well. So in a couple of days, you'll be able to go to your Alexa and say, Alexa, play the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. You'll be able to hear it. So my take several seats. I was surprised this morning, fellas. I was just trolling on the internet and was reading some stuff. I ran across an article about Dana Stubblefield. You guys remember him?
Hey, he's a 49. Of course I remember him.
Okay.
Big bad boy with defensive tackle.
Okay. He played for the Redskins. He went to play for the 49ers. However, did you know that back in July, he got sentenced to 15 years to life for rape?
I read something on that. And it was a very small title on it. But I caught the headline, but I never got a chance to get to it.
Terry, is there any pun intended when you tell him to take several seats?
Yeah, take several. And the woman and the victim was disabled.
No.
Yes, she was disabled.
Oh, please take several seats, and I mean pun.
I need for Mr. Dana to take the whole Candlestick Park. He need to rebuild Candlestick Park. Him going there and take every seat in there.
If he go into San Quentin, believe me, he gonna be taking several seats.
No, he won't. No, he won't. He's taking no seats when he get done with the movie at San Quentin. I promise you that. All right. So I'm not gonna run a commercial. So what I'm gonna do is go right into our topic today. Our topic is taking care of home before impressing these streets. Here's the thing, and today's show is going to be facilitated by none other than Kev the Great. Because I know Kevin, been knowing Kevin for a while. I know he loves to debate. I know he loves to talk and spark up topics and all that. So this is his show today. However, just giving you guys a topic, we're talking about taking care of home. Last week we talked about boys to men. This week we're talking about taking care of home. Now, we are in a position as men to take care of home. How do we do that? So, Kev, the floor is yours, good sir. Go with it.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate you. Now, the whole scene behind the Knuckleheads podcast, fellas, I want to reach out to these young fellas. We don't want you to be knuckleheads like we were back in the day. I can say that. I'm in my 30s. I'm in the mid-30s.
Yeah.
I can say that.
Yeah.
So, and I was sincerely a knucklehead. So, I want you to listen up because I got two guys on here. We're missing two, like we said. We're shorthanded today, but I still got two guys on here that I want to actually, I know, can give you some not only experience, but we can really talk to you. We can reach out to you. If you and I always tell people, if you need help, talk to me. Come to me if you need help. So, we want to go ahead and have you take care of home. What does take care of home mean to you? What are you focus on? What does the streets have to do with your family? If you got a family at home or yourself, period. We got some people taking care of the streets before they take care of themselves. So, that being said, I got 3 loaded questions here, and this is narrowed down to where this is really gonna help you guys.
We settle in, Dwayne. It's like it's gonna get
Yeah, go ahead, because I'm gonna give my. I'm gonna ask my guys first, and then of course, like Terry does, I'm gonna give my take at the end.
Yeah.
But pretty much, these guys here we're pretty much specialists. We were knuckleheads.
Yep. What's up, Dave?
Knucklehead Hall of Fame, first ballot.
All right. So, So the first question right here, fully loaded. Like I said, what does taking care of home really mean to you as a man? Dwayne, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll start. I think first of all, let's take everything out of it. Home is where you lay your head. Home is where you live. Home is where you unwind. Home is your domain where you can be vulnerable. Home is that place with your family, with your kids. If you don't have kids and family, still everything in that order, right? So to take care of home means to first cover your home. Mm-hmm. What I mean by, and I'm a minister / former knucklehead, so I'll say something that sounds churchy, but I'll explain it. You got to cover your family. And what I mean by covering your family is you have to protect your family, number one, against everything that you can see and things that you can't see. When you have children, that includes training your children, being an example for your children. If you have a daughter, taking care of home gives your daughter the optics of what a man's supposed to be before she ever dates anybody. If you have a son, it gives your son what a real man's supposed to do in real life situations every day. Those are things that he can glean and he can receive from you, whether that's instruction or him watching you. And then there's the physical side of taking care of home. So that means you're providing. Now, if you're a part of a relationship that is non-traditional, what I mean about non-traditional, if you're a stay-at-home dad and your wife has the ability to make more money or to make more money, then you play your role. And I think that's one of those things that we absolutely have to do. You have to be present to take care of home. And then it has to be follow my lead, not follow my mouth.
Hey, Sonia, what's going on?
How you doing?
I think taking care of home means being a man in all those aspects, being a good husband, being a good father, being a good provider, being a good example, and everything else that entails in the house. I think if you're a man, you need to know how to cook. I think if you're a man, you need to know how to do laundry. Because if your wife does it, if she's a stay-at-home wife, okay, cool. But she gets tired too. Believe me, I've been on both sides of that fence. I've worked 15, 16-hour days, and then I've been stay-at-home dad. And washing clothes, washing dishes, preparing meals, changing Pampers, and all that stuff. It's work, fellas. So yeah, you at work, but it's a different type of draining. So you definitely gotta put yourself in a position where you're taking care of home means putting in a nutshell, taking care of home means putting your family in a position that they always win.
Well, how do you piggyback off that? That's absolutely the truth. Taking care of home for me, if I had to put it in a box, in a definition, it's just what Dwayne said, times 2. But before you could do that, before you're given, because being present at home or being the man at home is a gift. If you have to get past or do your steps to make sure that you're good, because you're not going to make a good home if you're jacked,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like AD said, you got to put that work in. You have to say, Ilana Van Zant said all the time, you got to put in your work. What's up, AD? You got to put in your work. Hey, Siobhan. Hey, Ashley. How you guys? Everybody's coming in. Thank you guys for coming.
Hey.
Make sure you share the broadcast out. Make sure if it's your first time here, put in first time or first time live or whatever. And if it's on replay, just put in replay. But you got to put in the work. See, a lot of dudes, man, I don't know about you. It took me about 15 years to get it together. And it took me about 15 years to decide to do the work. I had to decide to do the work first.
Right.
Then I did the work. But it took me about 15 years to get it right. In the interim, though, I'm losing everything left and right simply because I didn't want to make the decision. First of all, what we got to do, fellas, is to make the decision that we are going to be better men, better fathers, better husbands. Because if you were here last, I thank you, Tamel. If you were here last week, we talked about what I went through with my daughter at 14 years old. She wrote me a 4-page letter and told me how much she hated me, and I had to go back and examine myself. See, we got to make a decision. See, a lot of us don't want to make a decision because we're afraid of the outcome.
Scared.
Big fact.
Running scared.
So we have to learn how to make a decision. You know, and we're talking about, what's up, Jake? What's up, Cuzzo? And it's not about the decision being what's for dinner or what's for. We're talking about, okay, I have made a child. Now what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
You can't take off. And take it from me, you can take off all you want to, but guess what? Your social follows you everywhere, baby. And once they get that, you can't. There's no more running. So make a decision to be a good father. Make a decision to say, I'm not finna go through all of this again. I'm not finna. It's like when if you guys remember last week, Dwayne said he woke up one morning and he said, I'm too old for this.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
When you get to that point, what's up, Edgar? When you get too old for this, you got to make a decision. You got to just say, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to go here anymore. I don't want to hurt anybody else. But, hurt people. You know what I'm saying? So we got to make it. We got to make a decision to be better. Be there for our children. I mean, just be better for ourselves. Not necessarily before we can be any good to anybody else, we have to be good to ourselves first.
Amen.
You feel what I'm saying? Once we take care of self, then we're able to love someone. You hear that all the time. How could I love? How can you love somebody else if you don't love yourself?
Facts,
bro.
It's impossible. It's impossible. It's literally impossible to do something.
That was poignant, brother. That was poignant.
I gotta give him props on this because normally I give my props when I'm watching the Brothers of Legacy. And, you got Pat, you got Dwayne with the Nuggets, you got Pastor Brian with the Nuggets, AD dropping, and then and then you got Terry with the little droplets. And that was huge. That was huge though because I have on my end, and it just recently happened to me too. Yesterday, I posted up a picture of my old high school basketball picture, and I had an old school high school buddy that came on there, and he likes to throw jabs out there. Now, one of the things that really got a little up under my skin, and I'll admit, I hate when people, it was like, well, I invite you to come play basketball, and literally where he is from where I am at, where he wants to play, I've gone there before, but it's a 50-minute drive. Now, I have the gas money. I have gas in my car. I can go. Here's the problem. I have to drive 50 minutes there, 50 minutes back. Besides playing games and so forth. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because that's taking time out of my family time. All right. And when I say taking care of home is, to me, you said it, Dwayne said it, and I'm gonna just go ahead and tell these fellas out here today, we got to set our priorities straight. This is something that we are not doing. And I guess let's go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and reset the cycle. All right, like AD said, let's put in work. All right, but we got to know to put in work. I didn't have anyone to tell. I had someone, my brother, who raised me, and God bless this guy, man. He's 13 years older than me, but he raised me from the jump. Put me in baseball. He did everything for me. He was, I guess you could say, my father figure, but brother wise. And I guess because we bump heads a lot, I didn't want to hear him say, "Hey, well, this person ain't right for you," or "You need to go down this path." Well, I didn't have my father there, and I'm pretty sure I'd have probably listened to my dad if he'd have told me, "Hey, you being a knucklehead,
yeah,
I'm gonna need you to wise up. I'm gonna need you to do what you need to do." I didn't have that, so, and you could call it an excuse, and I definitely will take it as an excuse, but I didn't have my priorities straight. When I had my first son, I was a senior in high school, and like last week, if you were listening, paying attention to last week, I thought I knew what I was doing, but I didn't, and I didn't wise up. I didn't have no priorities. I was working my first real job was working at McDonald's that last every bit of 2 months.
I love McDonald's.
Oh my goodness. And from there I graduated and I went on and I did my thing in college for a short period of time and then, down the hill. So it just never, I just never resonated, and I never set goals when my son was born. I just knew my son was here and I needed to do something in the moment. I didn't have no priorities though. Fellas, let's get these priorities straight. Whether you have kids or not, we got to get priorities straight.
Let's pop a couple comments in first, real quick, Kevin. All right, so Ashley Collins would ask the question, when is enough enough? To me, enough is enough when, like Dwayne said last week, when you wake up and you're like, whew, I'm tired. I don't want to do this no more.
It's like a nightmare after a minute.
Yeah. Willette brings up a great question I want us to discuss real quick. Willette says, do you think the decision can be made as young men to do the work? Why does it seem like young men more often than not do not put in the work? Why does it take so long for a man to say, I get it, let me do the work? That's the question.
I got you. Let me get to that. And I was actually on somewhere on borderline on that.
Yeah.
We got to break the cycle. If we don't want to be statistics, especially minority men.
Yeah.
We don't want to be those statistics going on in the future. If you didn't have a dad in the past and you got a son or a daughter now, set it straight now.
Yeah.
Get in line. Get them in line. Get them in check. Make sure they're formal. Make sure these kids are growing up to, be my future doctor. When me walking around with a cane and I need to know I got some real good people in my hand and with my life in their hands. Yeah. Let's get these kids. Let's break that cycle now. You don't want these kids to grow up without a father. You don't want these kids to grow up without I got 2 kids in my life and I tell them they mine. They've been mine since day one. And those are my girls' kids, but they've been mine since day one. So I'm not trying to, and their fathers, are not there like I've even tried to get them to be in their life. Me, who has nothing to do with the situation. I tried, but it's the effort. And if that effort's not there, I got to put in my time with them along with my kids and say, hey, we're going to do this together. Yeah. So we got to break that cycle. We got to get that going.
Yeah. And I like that question too, and I like a couple other comments. But one thing that I want to point out is by no means is what I'm about to say making any excuses for men. But I do want to share and give you guys some perspective. Some of you guys that are out there listening, commenting, especially female, especially the sisters out there. Mm-hmm. Life is a process.
Yep.
That's the one thing that we cannot forget. Life is a process, and on average, what we see is the process. And you look at a biscuit. If you're cooking a biscuit in the oven and you got the oven on, that biscuit is a biscuit before you put it in the oven.
Amen.
That biscuit is not ready to eat till it's been in the oven for the right amount of time on the right temperature.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So what happens also is sometimes you get somebody who pulls that biscuit out because they're hungry, and they try to make a sausage biscuit out of that biscuit that's not properly ready yet.
I love the analogy. Go for
and
it.
then you bite into the biscuit and the edges because it's on the outside and it got some extra heat.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. You know, he know how to sweet talk you. He know how to flirt with you. He know how to make you feel special.
Yes.
Then you get to that middle and the biscuit has not been cooked. It still needs time. But you're pissed off with the biscuit because the biscuit don't know how to keep a job. You pissed off with the biscuit because the biscuit want to play PlayStation. You pissed off with the biscuit because the biscuit still want to hang with friends.
Yes.
All I'm saying is this: perspective. Most of us want what we want when we want it.
That's right.
And that's what we do.
Yeah.
We don't take time to make sure the process is finished before
correctly.
we're put in a situation that product is created for.
Yeah.
So the reason why we have these conversations, because my father was one of them. We talked about this last week. Everybody at my father's funeral had nothing but great things to say about my father. And I had this emptiness, this taste, this disdain for my dad. But then I looked around and seen I was the only one. So it came to, it was just like, you know what? People get in situations before they're ready to be in those situations. So one of the first things we can do to make that process better is these type platforms. Mentoring young men who don't have fathers. Because if you want something to be what it's supposed to be, then it needs time to be in the process the entire time.
Gotta do the work.
And the knuckleheads that we were biscuits that were pulled out of the oven too soon. Yeah.
That was me, Coach.
Can we go ahead and end it? We can go ahead. Thank you guys for coming through. Really appreciate y'all.
We'll see y'all next week.
Yeah, because the biscuit analogy, yeah, it's very popular in the comments too, Dwayne, with the biscuit with Willette and Ebony. Now, Edgar,
is it bad that I want biscuits now with jelly?
I really do now. I really do now. I really want some. I got some molasses up in the cat. I like molasses and butter with the biscuits. Don't get me started. Okay, so, but Edgar said, truth is, men don't have access to the resources and support systems that women do, along with the perceptions from society. Men are kind of expected to just get it or just figure it out. I don't know. I think we all have this. I think maybe I'm wrong. I didn't have the resources. I can say that. I can speak strictly of me. I didn't have the resources, and because my support system was so small, I didn't have a support system either. So when I got to the place where I had to just figure it out or just get it, it's because I went through the process, that biscuit process, Dwayne so eloquently spoke of earlier, and I got burnt. I was a burnt biscuit when I came out, though. You know what I'm saying? So
that's overcooked.
I was an overcooked biscuit. It took me, so I had to redo it.
Hey, nothing wrong with that though. Hey, you know, as long as here's the thing about this whole perception of, and this kind of goes with what he was saying, what Edgar was saying. There's some truth to that. I'm not gonna lie. There is some truth. Some of us have resources and not using those sources.
Right.
But what about those that don't have resources? All right. So some of those men some of those guys that were men, and I can speak for a lot of my friends, are knuckleheads right now because their dads were in the prison system. Yeah. Their dads just weren't around. Dads up and left. Yep. And never came back. Now I got a buddy of mine, a real close friend of mine, and he is changing the narrative. And that's what it's about. Yep. You breaking the cycle. You change the narrative. Yes, you still may be a knucklehead. You still out here doing, some of the things that, I can tell you God ain't approving of. But at the same time, he's there for his kids. He may not be with the baby mama, but he's there for his kids.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. I mean, because if we're not in these kids' lives, they're going to eventually be a statistic.
Exactly. Just like Tamale, I hope I'm saying his name right. Tamale Martin said, I didn't know what I was doing, like you said last week, Kevin, until I had my first girl. Then I told myself I had to be better for my kids. So we have to make a decision. It's a decision. Because I want to put a reminder out there for all the folks that were not here last week. If you missed last week, shame on you. I need for you to
hit that replay button.
I'm trying to tell you, please do that. Just remember though,
Alexa still got you.
Know the difference between a man and a boy. Same gender, different breed. All right, just want to give you guys that the reminder. All right, Kevin, what's up, man? What's the next question?
All right, hold up. So the next question, all right, because my boy Dwayne, he did squash that one, and if you guys are not listening, please replay this.
Replay this.
Alexa loves to play. Do not start, Alexa. Do not turn on. Thank you. I appreciate you. But it's this is something, and I'm glad Dwayne hit home on some of these things. Now, and so did Terry. Terry dropped some really good dimes on that one. But I'm gonna be the quarterback. I'm gonna pass this one to Terry. Right. Terry, what is your focus on taking care of home and why, brother?
Well, everybody's situation is different. Mine is a little different because my family dynamic is different. I have a wife. I have 3 children in the home. 2 of my biological son and my stepson have been diagnosed as autistic. Zariah, she's suffering from middle child syndrome. So my family dynamic is different. My focus is to make sure that my sons are going to be okay. My 3-year-old, he's in therapy and speech therapy because he's nonverbal, and making sure that he is in a place where he can learn and grow. That's my focus for my children. My wife, I have to make sure that we're in a place where we're not bashing each other's heads in because we're dealing with 2 autistic children. So the dynamic's a little bit different. So you have to look at it from the outside and then try to game plan. I have to, again, my focus is to stay safe out here. I'm in a place where I am predominantly, I am the minority here. And my Black Lives Matter mask that I have, I don't wear it everywhere. Why? Because if I go into some places, I could be videotaped. I could be, I don't know. So my focus is to stay safe, right? So I can't just walk in there and be bold, rocking, my Black Lives Matter mask. I love my mask, but I can't rock it everywhere. I can't do that.
Responsible decision.
Yeah, exactly. And that alone right there tells me you're in the right state of mind where you are actually going to. That's a future thought. Hey, I'm gonna take care of home because I need to be safe out in these streets.
I'm telling you.
I got to get back home to my kids. I got to get back home to wifey. Yeah. I can't. Even though I love my Black Lives Matter, those my peeps. But at the end of the day, my family is my peeps at home where I lay my head.
Exactly.
So. But hey, that was great. That was great. Yeah. Dwayne, what you think,
bro? Okay, so the preacher finna come out of me.
Hey.
Okay,
not one biscuit analogy. What's the?
No, mine is very simple. Ephesians 5:25 is a verse that's overlooked by men around the world. Saved men, unsaved men, but we hear the other part of Ephesians 5 come out, and that's the part that says, "Wives, obey your husbands." We all hear that part all the time, but 5:25 it says, "Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her." And then if you read a little further, it says that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that he might present himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, that he should be holy without blemish. This is what this has always meant to me, especially now more than ever. Like, when it comes to that analogy that the Apostle Paul used there, he was saying Christ loved the church to the point that he was better, number one, because you can't present what your product, your family, what you're the head of, what you're the CEO of. You can't present it holy and blameless and all these other things without everything that came before that end. See, we want that finished product. We want the holy, blameless family, the family that has the house, that has the businesses, that has straight A children, that has all this stuff. But we, like AD said earlier, we don't put the work in. Well, what is putting in the work? Loving your wife the way that Christ loved the church. Christ loved the church. You got to put that in perspective, right?
Yeah.
Christ, we all are part of the church right now. And when I say church, I don't mean a building. I mean the body of Christ, right? Yes. We're all a part of that church.
Yeah.
When was the last time, nobody has the answer, this is a rhetorical question. When was the last time you know God's heart was broken because of your actions? When was the last time you knew better in doing something and you did it anyway? When was the last time we were truly knuckleheads? Daily. Most of us, if we answer that question, it's daily.
Daily, yeah.
But regardless of how we are and what we done wrong and how we ignored counsel here, how we ignored mentorship there, good advice from this person, father, mother, whoever, great friend, pastor, he loves us anyway. Yeah. And on top of that, he still goes above and beyond to make sure that all of our needs are met. And then he goes beyond that, and some things that we really don't deserve, here it is.
Yeah.
See, I look at my kids sometimes, and it reminds me of how God sees us. Because there's times I just want to grab them and shake some sense into them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I laugh, and I'm like, God, is this how you feel with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I look at my son, and I'm like, boy, I've told you 15 times in the last 2 days, literally, not even making any things up. I've told you 15 times in the last 2 days to do A, B, and C. And here it is Wednesday, and we just had this conversation Tuesday night, and you're doing this again. And God just, he humors me. He's like, really? He's like, that's how you feel?
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
that's how we do.
Touche. So when we love our wives and our families the way that Christ loved the church and loved us, when we didn't deserve it, when we were loudmouth, when we were anti anything that looked like him, he still loved us. He still made us perfect. He still put us in a position to win. That's the key for me.
Exactly. Let me piggyback off Dwayne real quick because I want these young men to know something.
Hey.
Women, our wives, girlfriends, baby mamas, whatever you just have, you call her this week, right? Are gifts, right?
Preach.
They're gifts.
Preach.
And listen, forget them Ferragamos, forget the iPhone 12, forget those Jordans. Take care of that because God is real funny. And this is what I realized over in my life. God is real funny about his daughters. Real funny. And when you are mistreating and breaking the hearts of and doing all kind of manner of evil against them, but you want to be prosperous in this life. It's just like in the Ten Commandments, honor thy father and thy mother. Okay? Honor your wife. Honor your girlfriend. I mean, because she is a gift. She is a gift. I am so sick and I am so tired of listening and these women having PTSD from dealing with us.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how to populate. We don't know how to finish a sentence. We don't know how to make a choice or make a decision. We don't know how to stop being stupid and doing crazy things. And when when someone tells you that you're doing something crazy and you still would not listen, you are traumatizing these queens out here who are raising our babies. But then when it goes left, you want to be mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
How you mad, sir? You are the instigator. You have been told, I used to say when I used to do this thing called the Common Sense Show TV a long time ago down in my basement. And I remember telling people, if you look around and you are the common denominator in all of your issues,
well,
you are the issue.
Ding, ding, ding.
You are the issue. So we have got. Listen, I'm telling you. I know of women. I know of these queens who are suffering right now, years later, months later, after they finally got rid of your crazy self. They still struggling. Mm-hmm. So, fellas, it's important. It's imperative. We have to. So, if you are watching this or listening to this, you can't. If you're listening to this, you can't see it. But Dwayne has his backdrop, his two babies.
Mm-hmm. Two future queens.
2 future queens. Now, if you're watching and you see the babies in the background, how can you not be or want to be in their lives? How can you not want to do right by them? You know, if you don't want to be with their mom, fine, but do right by them.
Exactly.
You feel me?
Exactly.
Forget. I mean, I don't understand sometimes, and I can't take. I've been there.
Well, you said something last week, Terry. You said something last week, and it stuck with me. And you talked about it again today. You talked about the 4-page letter, right? Brothers, look. Let me get close. Brothers, check it out. You've made mistakes. You've been absent. I have. Terry has. He talked about the 4-page letter. Mm-hmm. If you were a deadbeat, and especially when it wasn't your fault, a relationship dissolved, but you are now in a position where it's been a little while, because out of sight, out of mind is a reality. It really is. Sometimes you got to take those lumps upside the head to make it.
Oh yeah,
it don't feel good. It's not gonna look good. You might have to eat crow. You might have to put up with some stuff that ain't even your fault.
Mm-hmm.
But there comes a point. The Bible says that children are a heritage from the Lord, meaning God trusted you with them. It was more than you laying down and orgasming. Okay, I'm gonna keep it PG.
Yeah, please, yeah. Thank you, God.
It's more than that.
It really is.
God gifted them to you, and it's our responsibility. Yeah. And believe me, I'm talking from experience. I'm not telling you something that sounds good. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you this from a place where I've sat and shed tears by myself, because I knew I had to have a conversation and I had no words. Yeah. I knew that I was going to experience emotions so raw that my fragile psyche, because just because you're a male don't mean that you there, was going to be hit even more. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, your babies, our babies, they need it.
They need it.
And I don't care how long you've been gone and how many people call you a deadbeat or whatever. I promise you, those kids, they want you. You give a child that you ain't seen in 2 years $2 and take him out to dinner. Yeah. He gonna talk about those $2 in that dinner every day until he see you again.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I remember one time my mama told me, don't talk about them funky $5 your daddy gave you. Because I talked about it so much. And it had been years since I seen him before that. It matters.
It does.
It does matter. It does matter.
Piggyback off of that just for a little bit before I go to the final question. I don't want to run out of time because that's an important question. But I don't want you fellas to actually think this isn't a personal attack. Now, like my pastor says at my church, if it feels uncomfortable to you, then we're hitting the nerve that needs to be hit. Mm-hmm. And I love my pastor when we go to church and he hits a nerve. I'm like, man, I feel attacked.
Yeah.
But it's not a personal attack. It's to actually hit their nerve and say, I need to do right. You can't get right all your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So fellas, let's go ahead and listen up on this last one right here, because my boys, man, expectations being highly met right now.
Yeah.
And I knew when I hit this topic, I knew I was going to get these answers, and this is very deep. So I'm gonna go with Dwayne on this one here. What's the long-term effects of taking care of home over impressing the streets?
It's legacy. One word, legacy.
Exactly. Yeah, that was yeah, legacy, definitely legacy. And I want to piggyback off what Kevin just said. I want everybody who's listening, audio wise, whether it if you watch it on Facebook or Periscope or what have you, I want you to understand something. This is not a personal attack. We're just like in the words of the great Mr. Brian McCrory, who rocks with us on Brothers of Legacy.
Amen to that, brother.
We don't talk or preach what we've heard. We talk or preach what we've done, what we know, what we've gone through. We're not just sitting here talking, because the only time people can pass judgment, oh, she's woke already.
Look at that gorgeous little baby. Look at the little fat cheeks.
She is a cutie.
Yes.
So don't take it as a personal attack. We're trying to help, because, like Kevin said, if it gets on your nerves or it bugs you to the point where it bugs you enough, that's the nerve we hit. We're on the right nerve. Hey, Bella, we're on the right nerve.
And that's the and I want people to really acknowledge that name for the podcast is hey. I appreciate you, Edgar. I appreciate that. Yes, these Eagles, even though we in the worst division ever right now. But man, going back, is that name, this title that Terry put this podcast on, it's there for a reason. It's not just to catch an eye. Oh, the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. No, it's here for a reason. We're here for a reason. We're here to back up what that used to be, what you shouldn't be. So that being said, what's your take, Terry? What's the long-term effects? And what I mean when we're taking care of home, what I guess what I'm trying to dig at, like he said, is legacy, right? Yeah. What is it that we take care of home? What do we men look forward to over just being in the streets? Like what's the positive part about it?
Oh, well, for me, I like the fact that I can come home to one woman. That's one thing. I like the fact. Here's my thing, and I'm gonna try not to get choked up or emotional right here. But my son, who is 3 years old, he's autistic, nonverbal, right? Mm-hmm. But every day that I come home from work, he sees me. Doesn't matter what he's doing. He stops in his tracks and he comes and gives me a hug. And yesterday, for the first time ever, he came and gave me a hug and he kissed me on the cheek. When I tell you that thing broke me all the way down, brother, that I don't care what's in these streets. There ain't nothing. And my English is so bad today. It's so broken. I don't care. Ain't nothing more important than that. It's nothing more important than to come home and to be able to build with them, to be able to teach my sons, this is how you shake a hand. This is how you shave. This is how you do. Exactly. I want to be able to have that, like Dwayne said, legacy, taking legacy into it. I love to come home to one. It's easier. Life is easier when you take care of home versus the streets, because you have to. When you're in the streets, you got to wear a facade. When you're in these streets and running and you're trying to be everything else to everybody else versus being at home. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so
it's easier when you take care of home. Like I said, you guys last week, who was here last week, and you guys who was here. Sleep is a lot better when it's peaceful.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Life is a lot better with peace in it. And I'm not the type to be, even when I wasn't really a street runner when I was a kid. So I never stayed in the streets like that. But I did go and frequent these places, but I didn't stay in them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But now that, I'm on my 3rd, and I just love the idea of home. I love coming home. Mm-hmm. When I get paid, instead of trying to hide money, I say, honey, I got paid. I tell her beforehand, this is what my check is, because I love that responsibility of being able to do that. So for me, like Dwayne says, a little bit of legacy and being able to teach my kids.
Mm-hmm.
You making that noise?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
No, but it's like what you said too, and I appreciate that, because Here's one thing, and before we close out today, and I'm gonna let Terry close out after this because I mean, everything was hit. Every single note was hit that I needed from y'all, and to reach out to these fellas. So, one of the things that I appreciate the most out of this, and what I took out of this, actually balled up into one form, folded up into one form, is it all started when me and my lady started this relationship 5 years ago. All right, we were texting, and I hit she had gone through some, bad issues, right? Bad relationships. I went through some bad relationships, non-trustworthy type, relationships, both of us. So I sent out a question: are you tired? Because I'm tired. Are you tired of getting it wrong? I'm tired of getting it wrong.
Yep.
So if we're gonna do this, let's get it right together. And part of that, I took it upon myself, like, all right, we're gonna take care of home together.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, men, you want to take care of home by yourself. By all means, if you can do it, do it.
Yeah.
Blessings to you. But a lot of the time, we don't acknowledge our women that's actually here to help us take care of home. Now I'm blessed. I have a woman that she will straighten me out when I need to. And I love it. And we're able to go back and forth. But we both take care of home together. When it comes to my kids live in El Paso. My 3 knuckleheads that are, well, they're not knuckleheads like I was, but they hard headed. But my babies are in El Paso, but nonetheless, they know they get that same exact treatment. My oldest son Dion knows that he's gonna get that same. Matthew here is gonna get that same treatment.
Yeah,
he get in trouble, he's gonna know there's good, bad consequences. We taking care of this together, though, mind you, and it's to me, and I want to say this to the fellas: make sure you're involving your women when it comes to taking care of home. Yeah. They want to be included. Yeah. And I'm guilty of that sometimes, where I don't, I'll second guess what she's saying. I'm like, but wait a minute. She's been down this path already. She knows. Yeah. And I'm guilty. I will admit I'm guilty of that. But God is working on me at the same time. You know what I mean? So we're getting to the level where that happiness and that peace is there. And I got to thank my pastor for that too, because if I wasn't in church, there's a lot of the times that I've gone to church and he's actually, you know what? You make a lot of sense today. Yep. And if you can, fellas, put your kids in some church, put a Bible in their hand. We don't have enough fathers that are putting Bibles in their kids' hands. Yep. I have my boy Ladarius that had a song that came out maybe 3 years ago. And it preaches that, he tells that, we don't have enough of these kids with a Bible in their hand. We're not putting them in the church. We're not putting their focus in the right path lane, how God intended us to be. Mm-hmm. Rather running these streets. We showing them how to run the streets. We showing them how to do this. We showing them how dope deals are done. No. It's cool. You can see it on TV, but explain to them, no, this ain't the path that you're going, brother. You're going to a path of a degree. You're going to a path of righteousness on top of that. And treat your queens like they should.
That's right.
Because they're not here for decoration, fellas.
Exactly.
And on that note, Terry, it's yours.
Hey, man. So I want to thank.
Hey, Terry, real quick. Can I just a quick piggyback?
Yeah.
What you just said, Kev, is all that, bro. You can't have a GOAT debate truly in a team sport.
Yeah.
And we all do it. We all do it, right? Yeah. We all talk Mike, Kobe, LeBron, Kareem, whatever you want to put in there. But the reality of it is, you can't have a GOAT debate in a team sport. And taking care of home is it is truly a team sport.
Yes, sir.
It is.
And that legacy is, when it comes to Taking care of home, when home is taken care of, that's peace. That's that peace that it feels good to come home. There ain't no argument. It feels good to go, if you wanted to hang out, to go over to your boy house for an hour, 2 hours, no issues. It feels good to leave your phone home and you know your old lady got your code and you ain't worried about one single thing. It feels good.
Feels good. No, it's just so it's stress free. It's relaxing. It's soothing. Like my lady knows all my passcodes to email, whatever. I'm not gonna go through a phone, but I'm not gonna go through a purse. I was raised as a kid. Never go through a woman's purse. So when she tells me to go, can you get this out of my purse? Nope. I go get the purse. Hey,
bring it to her.
You go. But we not, like he said, it's that, to me, it's a sense of privacy. But at the same time, if it needs to be done, she needs to go through my phone, she can go through my phone. Yeah. I don't have nothing private. She knows how to get into my phone. She knows how to get into my passwords. She knows everything. But it's a peace of mind that, hey, when you come home and you ain't got to come home to an argument, you ain't got to come home to no fighting. That means you on the same level right here. And all my fellas, my young men, high school ain't the level that you want to be on. When you get into relationships later on in life, you want to be up here together, not down here, up here. And the goal in life right now is to make sure y'all are with the right queen and doing the right necessary things. Make sure but priorities though, fellas. Like I said in the beginning, these priorities got to be straight. If not, your ducks are not going to fall in line like you want them to.
It's blessed. It is. So let me first of all thank Kevin for facilitating today's topic. Next week we'll have another one of the brothers doing. Actually, next week we're gonna take a week off. Well, I'm gonna give you guys the week off. I'm going to interview Ashley one-on-one next week on the Knucklehead Chronicles. So, with that being said, thank you, Kev, for facilitating. As we exit, I want to say this: if it sounds like, fellas, that we're being repetitive in what we say, it's because we are intentionally, because we want you to get it. However many times it takes us to say it, and we want you to get it. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's way too important not to get it. If you can save yourself 5, 6, 7 years or months or however long of the same turmoil, catch it the first time, children of Israel. We know that story. And so let's make sure that we try to get it. In the words of the great Dave Hollister.
Hey,
Dave Hollister. So if you guys are if you know about music, the topic of this today was "Take Care of Home." Dave Hollister, who's a former member of Black Sheep, started his own. Went solo. He had a song called "Take Care of Home," and in the words of that song, in the chorus, it says, "Take care of home, then you don't have to worry about your girl." That's a word.
I mean, don't it just make sense? Yes. I mean.
Yes, catch that. If you take care of home, you got to worry about her going nowhere. Because you know what's funny? And I don't even want to talk about this. We'll talk about this another time. But 10 seconds. Tell her you love her. What? Okay, don't get me.
What they know about that?
They don't know nothing about that. We too old. That's what it is. But if you never heard of it, it's Dave Hollister. It's 1985. I think it's the name of the album. Go check that out. But as we close, I want to say, fellas, it's okay. We've all done crazy stuff. We've all been knuckleheads. Some of us still delving in some avenues of knuckleheadedness, right? But we're trying to get on a better path. It is time for us to be men. It is time for us to be fathers. It is time for us to put away, because the Bible says it best. When I was a boy, I did boy things. But when I became a man, I put away those childish things. That's what the words say. That's not my word. It's the word of God. It's not me. But we need to do that. And even if it takes you 5, 6, however long to do it, you have to do it. Because these young queens, like Dwayne's holding there, and these young kings that are out here, like I have, they can't afford for you to not have it together. Because how are they going to get it? The streets? I'm just saying. But anyways, we're going to get on out of here. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. If you shared the broadcast, thank you. We appreciate that. Come back next week. We'll be here. I will be interviewing Ashley Collins onto Dragons on relationships. You know how I feel about those. So we'll get into those next week. You guys have a great week. Look out on Monday or either Tuesday. You'll be able to go to your Alexa and then play this podcast back. You guys have a great one. We'll see you next week.